Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Andy, and we are going live at 4:05, so live on the fives. So thank you so much for joining me. As y'all pop into Facebook, today we are talking about the top 5 things you should know before getting x-rays for your animal, or when you're getting x-rays with your animals. Hi, Neely. Can you hear me? I'll just ask you. You're the first one on the scene. So we're going to talk about x-rays. This is actually kind of ebbs and flows with my clients. Sometimes we talk a lot about x-rays and sometimes we don't. So it's kind of been up again. And thank you, Neely. So I have some very different points of view about x-rays. Generally speaking, in medicine, x-rays are very significant, very concrete. They're very diagnostic. And what if actually none of it is true? And my number one pointer with x-rays that I have attempted to drill into my clients' heads is, what if they're just a nice indication of what's going on? All diagnostics have their limitations. All diagnostics give you different information. So what if they are a nice indication? And x-rays actually do, and that's number one, a nice indication. That's it. And they are more of a diagnostic of exclusion, meaning you don't have XYZ. Oh, Kim's got to come talk x-rays. Hi, Keisha. Because with x-rays, you're mostly looking at bones. They're really good at picking up dense, hard things. They're not good at soft tissue stuff. Although you can do chest x-rays and you can do abdominal x-rays and you can see some of the organs. We're going to talk probably more on the type of x-rays, hi Stacy, that I look at, which are, hips and shoulders and the spine. When it comes to chest x-rays and abdominal x-rays, and what if you always had a radiologist look at all the x-rays that, even if it's your general veterinarian, takes? Okay, you can always have them reviewed by somebody else. And what if more eyeballs on that picture is an excellent thing? So number one, what if they're a nice indication of what's going on? That's it. Let's pull all the significance off of them. We're going to stick that over here on the side. Okay, you can pick that back up. Well, let's just stick it over here for right now. And the rest of this, beyond the nice indication, is what you actually, if you don't get from your veterinarian, you may want to ask them about. One of the big things that I find so interesting is you actually need 2 views to really see any body part really well. And you don't necessarily need to cognitively know what I mean by 2 views. But when you get x-rays back from your vet and you only have 1 x-ray, you did not get 2 views. 2 views, you want one that goes this way, 90 degrees from each other, because you're trying to put a 3D image on a 2D picture. And that's going to distort things. So the more angles you can get, because you can do more than 2 views, the better indication you get of what is going on. Or, yes, we see something there, whatever that is, right? Let's say inside the femur bone, you have this big circle thing. They call them, they can be a lucency. It looks off. So if you get another view and it's still there, okay, now maybe we do have something. Now, hi Katie, what if we also take a picture take a x-ray, I call them pictures, of the other limb. And, oh yeah, that's not over there. Okay, cool. What is this? Okay. And then that's where, and even if, that's when, that's your next step. Okay. But you cannot decide something is wrong from one view. So, ask your vet, are we taking 2 views of this? Of their hips, of their pelvis, of their knee, of their elbow? Ask them, are we taking 2 views? The most likely they're going to look at you like, well, yeah, of course I am. And what if you asked a question and made sure that you got 2 views? Because getting the animal to the x-ray, it's not the most difficult procedure. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And a lot of animals can do it awake. And that's on here too. Let's go with 3, drugs or no drugs. And that's you knowing your animal. Are they going to hold still relatively? How serious of a thing are you checking out that you think? How serious have you deemed your thing that you're checking out? Because the more they hold still, the better views your veterinarian is going to be able to get. And them holding still may require them being under anesthesia or sedation. So you can do a lot of x-rays without drugs. You can. And if you have a most agreeable Labrador that'll lay there, great. If you've got a shivering, high-strung little Chihuahua and they need to stretch out that leg to get a really good look at a knee, probably not going to be awake for that. Probably not going to be very cooperative. So you can do x-rays with and without drugs. Again, ask your vet, what are they comfortable with? Some veterinarians sedate all of their x-ray and anesthesia, different levels. Sedation, they're just kind of drugged. Anesthesia, they're out. And so sometimes x-rays are done before other surgical procedures. That's a great time to get something done. If you're mostly just curious, you're not needing a hardcore, like, something is wrong, we need to figure this out now. You have a 3-year-old dog that's occasionally lame that's going in for a dental. Can we take a look at those hips? They're going to be out, so you're going to get some nice x-rays. Let's do it all at once. It's actually a great time to do stuff like that. Most of the time you need x-rays kind of like something is quote unquote going on here and we need to figure this out, usually sooner than later. At least that's what we decided, right? And we concluded. So what if they're just a nice indication? Let's put all the seriousness and all of the, I'm missing the word I was using. It's gone. But anyway, all of the significance, that's the word I wanted. All the significance that are placed on, it's a nice indication. What kind of information can we get from them? Okay. Drugs or no drugs. You can talk to your veterinarian about sedation, no sedation, anesthesia, wide awake. My point of view, working with hips for the last 17 years, that in the show world, and they do OFAs and they do pen hips, those x-rays that evaluate the condition of the hips for breeding purposes. Wherever you agree and don't agree with that, those dogs need to be knocked out. If you want really good x-rays, you're going to spend the money. You want to get the best evaluation you can get, which if you want to breed your animal, you want to get. I get it. You need to knock the animal out. Getting angst. What do you mean, Stacy? Angst. Unless that's supposed to be a different word. But doing them awake, those muscles are just, they don't relax enough. So there's actually some really good, quote unquote, reasons for knocking the animal out for the x-rays. If they're in a lot of pain, it's just going to be easier on everyone involved. So, ask your veterinarian, have that conversation. See what's going to work for you, your animal, and the veterinarian and the techs. And go from there. Cool. So we talked about 2 views minimum. So when ask your vet, you're doing 2 views. Because once you get your animal back from the x-rays and you only took 1 view, putting your animal back into that situation to get the other view, to get other shots, it's difficult. It's stressful. They may not even be able to do that day. You're going to have to come back. So what if you ask the question first? You need 2 views of every view they take. And don't worry about the views that they take. That's not, you just ask for 2 views. They'll understand. And what if we compared side to side? I find it interesting that I don't get a lot of they took the right elbow, but they didn't compare it to the left. Right? Because what if there's something on that right side, but it's not really pathogenic, meaning it's nothing really, is it on the other side? And if it's on the other side, that could just be normal for that animal. One elbow is all creaky, and we take films of that, and you can see some spurring on the bone, which is arthritis. But what does the other elbow look like? Does it have the same spurring, but it's not as sore as this one? Because what if that's really good information going forward? And the animal is there. The techs are there. The equipment is there. The animal's been knocked out. Why not get as many views as possible? And I know, Dr. Andy, right? X-rays cost a lot of money. Yeah. And going back and doing more later will cost you just the same amount, or if not more, for a visit and all of that. So what if you got everything taken care of in one shot, one foul swoop, one shot? I would love, every elbow that needed to be evaluated is, 2 views, both elbows. Let's compare them. Let's see what we got. Are they looking the same? Are they looking very different? Information that now you have going forward with your animal. And then when we take those elbows, what's this arm connected to? The neck, right? And it goes down the arm. So innervation comes out of their spine and goes down your limbs. Same thing with the dog. We're just upright this way. Cat, horse. They're just this way now, right? Okay. So, has anybody ever laid on their arm and their hand's gone to sleep? Animals will get pain and numbness down their arms from the neck. They'll get pain and numbness down their back legs from their lumbar spine. Okay. So if you're going to look at a knee, you're going to look at a hip. Let's look at the lumbar spine, the low back. If you're thinking you have elbow pain or wrist pain, let's take a look at the neck. Because with animals, I can tell my chiropractor, it kind of comes down here and goes into this little pinky. The animals aren't going to tell you it's radiating down into their 2 toes. We don't get that information from them. So we need to use our diagnostics to gather that information. And so, is the pain actually organic in the elbow? Is the pain actually organic in the wrist? Or is it actually radiating down the limb from the spine? So, when you are evaluating a joint in an extremity, what if you also asked your vet, take those 2 views of the spine? Of the neck if you're looking at the front, of the lumbar spine if you're looking at the back. The thoracic spine kind of isn't really hooked up to any extremities, so, And then sometimes if your dog's little enough, you get the whole damn dog. But what if we got all those views in one shot? Like I said, the animal's there, everyone's there. Let's get this all done. Let's get all the information that we could possibly get. And I talked about this just a little bit. We're not only seeing, but x-rays are mostly used for bony changes. And when we say bony changes, we mean arthritis. We mean spurring on the joints, on the spine. We can also see degeneration of vertebrae, which is the individual bones in the spine. We can see bony changes. We can see fractures. That's a bony change because that bone is now cracked. Okay. Like Puddle without his femoral head, he has a bony change. He has no femoral head. That's a bony change. So when I say bony change, so is everyone with me? Anybody have any questions? If you're following, could you do me a favor and type in there like bony change? Like you got it. Like that's what x-rays primarily do. And then if not, I can go over that a little bit more. Soft tissue changes do not show up on x-rays as much. You can see some inflammation. Absolutely. Those abdominal views, you can maybe see where there's an object that's not letting stuff pass if your dog eats something. Boneyard change. Thank you. Bony changes. Okay, good. So there are some soft tissue stuff that you can see, but it is ideally for bony changes. So if you don't have arthritis, there's no spurring in the spine or in the joint or whatever you're looking at. There's no fractures. There's no dislocations. There's no tumors. You can see some bone tumors because they'll actually eat away the bone, or there'll be a mass in the bone. X-rays are actually really stinking cool. They're actually a lot of fun. The X-ray classes were a little difficult because they stick you in the dark and shut off the lights and make you look at them. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. And just so everyone is very, very clear, I did a lot of x-ray work. That was all on people in my chiropractic practice. All of the x-rays I see now on the dogs that I see have been taken by a veterinarian and reviewed by a veterinarian, if not a veterinary radiologist. And then I have access to them. I can see them. And so I do look at a lot of them because I think they're stinking cool. So hi, Deirdre, how are you? So I've had a lot of x-ray training, not necessarily looking at in school. So just to be very, very clear with everyone. And that's what I'm saying. I look at a lot of hips. I look at a lot of knees, look at a lot of elbows, not so much the abdominal stuff. Okay. So the only bony changes. So keep that in mind when your vet wants to run x-rays. Bony changes, cool. So you could even ask them, what do you expect to see? What are we looking for? And then I would have them, after they're taken, go over them with you. Actually point out what they're seeing. And this is probably going to be your regular vet at the visit. And then have them sent out to a radiologist. And then you'll just get a report from them. You won't get the hands-on from them. And that's cool. That works really well. They'll send you back this report with all these big ass words in it. It's amazing. And if you see Dr. Andy with your animal, you bring it in and I'll explain what those words mean. It's easy peasy. But a lot of dogs and cats end up getting diagnosed with arthritis. And I always ask the owners, I'm like, okay, so where are the x-rays? And they're like, well, we didn't take any x-rays. I go, well, then you cannot actually diagnose arthritis. You can suspect it. You can go, hey, that 14-year-old dog probably has some. They have some bony changes in there, absolutely. But until you actually take a film and see it, big ass words. Yeah, big ass words. You cannot diagnose it, which generally is neither here nor there. A lot of times with the senior guys that come in to see me, a lot of the pet parents are like, oh yeah, they have arthritis. I'm like, okay, where are the x-rays? They're like, well, we didn't take any x-rays. That's what the vet assumed. I'm like, okay, well, A, can't be diagnosed, and B, they're probably right. There's, senior dogs probably have some arthritis in there. And, so what, right? I do my thing. They get adjustments. If they get better, then I don't actually get really excited about what is on the x-ray or the fact that we don't have an x-ray. Now, if things don't change, then we go taking a look. And so that's significance, right? It's still over here in this box. Like, what if we started looking at our animals as, okay, what information can this diagnostic give me? You can even ask that of your veterinarian. What information can this diagnostic, this x-ray, give me about my animal? And, you can even go the next step with yourself. Do I need that information? You can ask your vet, do I need that information, or can I go try this first? And the veterinarians that I work with closely, we generally start with an adjustment. Because if we just change it and the animal feels better, do you really care exactly why? What if we threw why, let's put a box over here. We'll throw all the whys over here. What if we actually never know why again? Everyone got real panicky on that one. They're like, oh, no, we're supposed to know why, because then I could change it. But what if that's not true? What if you could just change it without knowing why? And what if, and I talk about this a lot on my radio show, that once you know why, you know that limitation, you have that proper significant why called the diagnosis, it's actually much harder to change for you and your animal. So this is where I'm sneaking in the energetics of X-ray and what you can create with your animals and how X-ray can fit into that. And if you don't need to know, maybe you don't do it. Maybe you do. Does it, a lot of times, I just tell people, if you really need to know, go ahead. And what will that change? And a lot of times, people are like, nothing. We're mostly talking about senior dogs here. The 15-year-old dog, I'm not, we're not going to put him through surgery. So let's do, acupuncture, chiropractic. Let's do some body work. Let's see what kind of meds might contribute here. What supplements might contribute here. What if, we change a diet? What else can we do here? Do we need to do diagnostics? And what if that's always what's going to work best for you and your animal? That's it. And even if it's your veterinarian that needs to know and it doesn't work for you, what if you don't choose to do it? Have that conversation with them. Okay, so the 5 top things, they are a nice indication. Oh, that's what I want to mention this, because I have seen dogs x-rays of a spine, because dogs do this really cool thing. It's called spondylosis, and they'll actually grow bone from vertebrae to vertebrae and actually fuse their entire spine. It is amazing when you see that on x-ray. Amazing. And I've seen these dogs, and they've come into my office, and they're kind of like, yeah, my back hurts a little. Could you fix that? And I tell pet parents, I'm like, we're going to do an adjustment. This is fused. Like, I'll point it out to them. This is fused. This is bone. And the adjustment will still contribute. How the heck is that possible? Because what if that adjustment has more to do with the quick impulse into the nervous system than it does with ever moving a bone? Something for you to chew on. If you're with me, put chew on in there. In the chat, chew on. We're chewing on that. What if it has less with moving a bone than it does with the quick impulse into the nervous system to allow the body to do what it's designed to do? Okay. Nobody's with me. I lost y'all. Or Facebook's. All right, Katie. Thank you, Katie. Thank you. Or Facebook's really delayed. It could go either way, right? Okay. Nice indication. So this, and the dog's like, my back's a little sore. And then I have seen, thank you, Neely. That's awesome. And then I've seen spines that are beautiful. Beautiful. Like, disc space are awesome. The lucency's great. The hips are on. Oh my gosh, beautiful. And that dog's not walking. Huh? So you cannot base everything on a split second of time on a film. They are a nice indication. And they rule out stuff, or they rule in stuff, or you know, it's just information. Cool. I got lots of 2-ons. Okay, good. Woohoo. Two views minimum of each joint, of each body part. When you're looking at extremities, ask to do the other side. Let's compare joint to joint. Because we don't compare this body to this body. We compare joint to joint within the same body. So when my hands are in your animal and I'm comparing side to side. I'm not comparing that German Shepherd to the German Shepherd I saw 3 days ago. I'm comparing this side of the body to this side of the body. I'm checking range of motion on this body to this. Not necessarily what it should be, because every body is different. And I'm also not comparing that German Shepherd to a Labrador to a Pug. They're all very different. They also have different structures and different range of motion and joints. That's a little bit of a side note. That's a bonus. And then if you are looking at an extremity, let's also correlate what's going on in the spine. So if you're looking at a front limb, also look at the cervical spine, upper thoracic spine, which are under those scapulas. If it's a small enough dog, you're going to have less views. There are bonuses to having little dogs. If you're looking at a knee or looking at a hip, also get the lumbar spine. Let's see what that leg is connected to. What is that looking like? Because we don't always know if we're getting radiating pain or pinpoint organic pain in an animal. Okay. Bony changes. That is what we're generally looking for on x-ray, is all the bony changes. That's it. So if you're talking about other things with your veterinarian and what you could be looking for in an x-ray, aren't we looking at just bony changes? And they're like, no, because this soft tissue mass that may be here will show up a little bit. So before we go on to XYZ, I'd want to take a look. Awesome. Have a conversation. Ask your veterinarian questions. That is what they are there for. Okay. And then drugs or no drugs. How much pain is your animal in? How old is your animal? How cooperative? How anxious? How big? How little? You're there. You're going to take, even with an elbow, you're up to 2 on the side that hurts, 2 on the side that doesn't hurt, and 2 for the neck. You got 6 views. It might just be easier on everybody involved to sedate the animal. It may not be. Again, ask your veterinarian. Have a conversation. Okay. What's it going to take for us to be empowered about what we know about our animal and get involved? And ask those questions of our veterinarian. Let's co-create with our veterinarian what's going to work for our animals. And yes, we are in COVID times and you're not there. Thank God we have smartphones, right? And you can call in and they can have your animal and you can be right there on that phone. Right? You can still have those conversations. And maybe you have those conversations in an email or a phone call before the animal comes in, so everyone is very, very clear on what that you are expecting of them and what you are requiring of them for your animal. And you might need to get creative about your care for your animal in these times. If the vets are still just taking them in and you're not going with. You are not going to physically be able to hold their paw, but you can be there. There are many, many ways to be there, virtually technology-wise. And what if it's more important now than ever to have your animals back? Make sure everyone's very clear on the expectations of the visit and what you're looking for before the visit even starts. That's all. Okay. You might have gotten more than 5, but definitely my interesting points of view about x-ray. A lot of docs, a lot of veterinarians. You see that? Yes, it's my poop hat. Actually, a little earlier today, I probably should have been wearing it, but it probably put me in a better mood. I was a little bit of a poop head. So yeah, my poop hat sits back there. I actually wear it sometimes, Deirdre. I'll have to show it for those lives too, because I end up talking about poop a lot. Dog poop a lot. Animal poop a lot. I get like little hearts for poop. See, poop's a hot topic, I'm telling you. But what if we all started looking at x-ray a little bit differently? I know we have really fancy diagnostics these days for our animals. A lot of docs skip right over them to like MRIs, CTs. Grace asks why. Why I have a poop hat or why I talk about poop a lot. She's barking. So I'm not allowed to talk about Grace's poop. She just wants to remind me that. I can talk about other dogs' poop. But don't discount x-ray. Even if your vet may be discounting it, again, ask some questions and see what's going to work for you and your animal. Because a lot of them go right into much bigger diagnostics, much more expensive diagnostics that you can get a lot more information from. And you may not. So what if we don't discount it and it's a nice indication and it's rather inexpensive and cheap to give you some information. It's not the end all be all, or it could be. Okay, so we have our box of Y over here, right? We got a second box of Y, right? So if you want to pick that back up and live your life by why everything is happening, you can pick that back up. It's all yours. You got it. And over here was all the significance, right? All the significance that x-rays are going to be and do for you and your animal. You can pick that back up, or you could just leave them where they're at. Take a look at these points of view. Ask your veterinarian questions. Have conversations. And choose what's going to work for you and your animal. Because you know them best. I hate to tell you. I know you'd like other people to tell you what to do with them and how to do it, but what if you know them best? Okay, cutie pies. That's all I got today. Anything else real quick? If Facebook's gonna let it roll fast enough here. People are obsessed with poop. Especially their dog poop. All right, my friends. I will be back next Tuesday, 4:05 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We'd love for you to come on back. Invite your friends. I don't have my topic yet. I don't know. I'm kind of in love with apple cider vinegar. We might talk about that. I don't know. If anybody has any suggestions, pop them up on the Facebook page. Why not? You want something. If you have a topic that's like up in your world and would love maybe most likely a different point of view about it, or at least a conversation about it, pop it on the Facebook page. And we can add it to the list. Deirdre says, yes, ACV. It's like magic. Oh, thank you, Keisha. Mwah. Thank you so much. Next Tuesday, back here, Dr. Andy Harper, 4:05 Mountain Standard Time. Have a fabulous week. And until we see each other again, how much fun can you have with your animal? Bye-bye.